Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So this reading reminds us of the lesson that we should mind our own crops and learn the art of being content. The moment has come for you to count your blessings because you have successfully taken care of business. In the near future, you can expect for a form of justice to make itself known to you. Now, this is an Ace of Swords moment. This is where justice arrives, we gain clarity, and any lingering illusions that we had about people, places, things, or events that we were once connected to, it's all about to be revealed. And although it may hurt, the information that is about to come forth, although it may hurt, prepare to accept the truth in the situation. And this truth, honestly, is something that you may have already known, but it was not something that you could prove, right? Maybe you got a download. Maybe God gave you a dream. Maybe you had an insight. Maybe something was telling you that the people around you, your family, your loved ones, your spouses, your partners, something about their involvement in your demise. You could sense it, but maybe you just didn't have the evidence. And so this breakthrough moment that arrives is a result of evidence, proof, some type of investigation. And there's something that's been detected by an outside party, somebody who is attached to the key players involved, but is not in alignment with whatever it is that they've done. Now, for you, this was or is a very, very personal issue, and you can finally count on the resolution to be reached. Now, the timeline for this involves the full moon in Cancer. And so Cancer, just in terms of astrology and the zodiac, Cancer is the fourth house, and it does involve the home and the family. And so this moment of clarity that is arriving is going to talk about your loved ones. And if this is not a family member, it may be a lover or a past lover that you loved like family or that you had a family with. And so Cancer season, let's just start to talk and prepare for what's to come. Cancer season begins June 21st and it ends July 22nd. And I want you to look for this information to be shown to you during this time. This is just less than a month away. The energy of Cancer as a water sign, it asks that we uncover buried emotions, we settle into ourselves, and then we kind of allow our body to unravel, right? And so this period of time on its own, without this upcoming event, it can be deeply emotional. Family drama, hidden information, and revelations about some of your closest connections are going to be revealed to you. And I feel that you have known this all along and that you spent time minding your own crops, plowing your own fields, but now it's time to harvest, okay? Your ancestors did make themselves known in one of our cards in this reading. And so this event, your ancestors are tightly woven to this event, and they will assist you in realizing any old ancestral karma brought down through your bloodline. And so Cancer is a season, it's time for you to open up and for you to receive the gifts and the wisdom from those that came before you. Just as we inherit physical imbalances or we take on emotional and mental traits, wisdom and challenges, patterns and traumas and karma, we take on the good, we take on the bad. I want to remind you about the ancestors, that not all ancestors seek to uplift and guide you. Not all of them are, congratulating you for breaking the contracts that have kept your family lineage bound, right? So be sure to create a sacred space and call upon the benevolent ancestors, filled with the Holy Spirit, just as you are. I want to offer you a few rituals, a few suggestions to kind of prepare you for Cancer season. This is almost like your promotion. And so, we're preparing you for the throne that you are going to sit on, okay? A few suggestions for any rituals that you may want to do. The first one, we can light a candle and we can set the intention that we're going to use this candle to heal any family karma, pains, and patterns that may have been handed down, right? Next ritual, we can sit under a tree and we can take time to reconnect to our kin that walked the earth prior to our existence. 3rd. If you have any petrified or crystallized wood, this will also help you connect and ground in your ancestral energy. And 4th, lastly, there is a loved one that may make themselves known to you as we approach Cancer season, as this breakthrough truth is revealed, okay? Now, this is a loved one, clearly, that's transitioned, they've crossed over, but they would like to take time to shine love into your heart, to support you, to say, listen, I've heard your prayers, I've heard your thoughts, and I want to reassure you that you are supported and that you are not alone. And so this is the moment where, like, you know, we're passing the torch, we're passing the baton. And you, if you haven't realized this, you are the one that they've been waiting for. And so bridging that connection and becoming comfortable with creating a partnership between those that came before you is vital to you feeling, you know, fulfilling your role in the way that it has always been designed for you to do so. So let's move on to the next part. We're going to talk about eclipses for a second because they also revealed themselves in this reading. So we're going to review the time frame for the full moon eclipses. And why are we doing this? It showed up as a potential time when there was a vow or an agreement or an oath that took place. This could have been made by your family or a community in which some of your family members are a part of. If these are not parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, this could be a spouse, a former lover, or somebody that you had children with. Now, it was during the eclipse season, which we're going to talk about the last eclipse, November 8th of 2022. It was during that season where the vow was initially made. Now, is this the very first time that somebody has agreed to attack you in some kind of way? No, but I feel like there was a close connection to you. This was kind of like the last member added on was closer to you than ever. So think about any fragile relationships that you were going through in November of 2022. Think about any vulnerable connections. And maybe you suspected that somebody close to you had done something or joined something. Maybe you noticed a shift in their behavior. But something about November 8th of 2022, let's just be clear, that is 3 days before the 11/11 portal. And so if you're listening to me, I'm sure you have a relationship somehow with 11/11. And we know that the intentions that we set and the desires, the dreams, the goals, we should be very careful of our thoughts and our words. And so 1 is about a new beginning, but we've amplified that by 4 in 11/11. And so whatever they put into place, November 8th of 2022, the full moon eclipse is directly connected to the most recent full moon eclipse of March 25th, 2024. Now, whether you were supposed to perish, we don't know. We're not sure if that was a part of the vow or the oath, but there was a 2-year cycle, a 2-year time of energy where you could have been dragged through the mud. Life could have been very hard. Maybe you were not able to get anything off the ground. Maybe every relationship or connection that you attempted to build was severed. Maybe all the money that you acquired was slipping through your hands. Maybe you went through a major surgery. Maybe there was an attack on your health. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe your children were ill. But there were many things that you could have endured during this 2-year time period that was directly connected to this community, this vow, this coven, and your family. This is what is being revealed to you this Cancer season. Not that you didn't already know, but now the evidence, the proof, it is going to be made known for all. So this vow and this agreement, it came about because this was a pact about success. It was a pact about prosperity and, prosperity as a result of hard work. And so whoever is a part of this, they knew that it would take a lot of work and they were willing to put in the manpower. They were willing to put in the hours, whatever that looks like, for these type of people. And the desire was to be self-employed. The desire was to have material gain and simply to just enjoy a life where the finer things are prevalent and are in excess. Okay. And so this vow, it was an oath to a network, a group, a friendship, or a team of individuals. Now, this group is wealthy. They have amassed great fortune, right? And so what do they do when they find new members or possible initiates and prospects? They promise their new members and their initiates rejuvenation, almost like a new life, but you don't got to die to get it, right? God's promises to the faithful, so they could have some type of religious affiliation, right? If you're in pain, your pain will be subsiding. All you got to do is join us. Your life is going to be resurrected. A determination to survive is going to come to you just because you're under our covering, right? The ability to learn how to cope through life's hard times. We can help you do that. You'll get through your worst days. You'll get through your worst moments. Any event in your life that comes against you, we'll take care of you. We'll teach you how to do it. Have all of your woes and your troubles and your sorrows are going to perish. And this is how this stuff is sold to people. The full moon in Taurus, so we've talked about the eclipse, we're going to move on. The full moon in Taurus, it presents itself with the message that your dreams need to have a practical plan. So this is another key time, right? And so somebody is saying, so what are your dreams? Tell me what you want to do. Well, how do you plan to do it? Well, do you know that we can help you do it? We have resources, we have connections, we have opportunities, right? And so they start to pick people's brain and they find the desires of their heart. But just like they find the positive aspects of a person's character, they're also looking for the negative aspects. So what your family or spouse or lover doesn't always understand is that the only reason that they are being propositioned to join this type of group and to make a vow is because of their connection to you. You are always the intended target. But first, they have to make this potential family member a victim. Your family member is the first victim, truth be told. And so they play on the devastation that has happened and the connection that you share with them. And listen, we started the reading talking about minding your own crops and learning how to be content. Now, you can have a family that has had more than you 10 times over, right? But there is something inside of you, the light of God, the love of God, that these people just can't get their hands on. And I feel like when they envy you and when they're jealous of you, they don't realize that it's the God in you that they have an issue with. And they know now, right? But all of the attacks that were happening, they don't realize that they are battling God, the God in you. They think that there is something in you that if only I could just get my hands on it, if only I could just take it from you. How are you so content and you don't got shit, right? And it bothers people because they have this hunger that they can never fill, right? They have all this stuff and they're still miserable. And so for you to smile, for you to be at peace, for people to like you, with the little bit that you have, how dare you? It makes them feel foolish about the things they do to acquire and amass wealth. So let me look at my notes. Okay, yes, so they start to spin illusions to their potential prospects. They figure out their dreams, their goals, desires, and then they sell them and they tell them all the ways in which they can help them. Now let's talk about the dates for this full moon in Taurus. So this year, November 15th, the full moon is in Taurus. Now, Taurus is the second house when we're talking about astrology. This deals with our relationship with material things, our finances, and the desires that we have for this life, right? So in November is going to be a full moon in Taurus. We're going to go back to the last full moon in Taurus, which fell on October 28th of 2023. And so I want us to understand the significance of the fall season when we're talking about these covens, these groups, these organizations. The fall is truly a key time for a lot of these attacks and a lot of this harvesting to begin, right? They follow nature cycles. They want to see all of their hard work blossom and bloom in the spring so that they can enjoy it throughout the summer. And so although this is a 2-year cycle that began in November of 2022, it's like they kind of do a pit stop in 2023. And then by time they get to this November coming up in 2024, it's almost like you're at peak. Your harvest is at its peak. So whether you were supposed to be alive, whatever it is that was supposed to come about, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And we're going to talk about why. But I just want you to think about those dates because I want you to rewind your own existence and think about what you were going through during those times. What were the events? How were you feeling? Now, that last moon in October of 2023, that was actually what is it called? Full moon, the hunter's moon, right? October 2023, that was the hunter's moon. And that moon on its own has a tendency to stir up emotions like anger and betrayal, not in just you, the intended target, but they prey on the people that are connected to you in order to get them in motion and in the spirit to participate in whatever this is. You understand? And so this moon phase, when we're going through certain moon phases, specifically that one, you should speak less and contemplate more. Speak less and contemplate more. October and November are huge cycles of time for dark magic, hexes, energy, whatever spells they do to cast, to bind you. Big times, right? So I want you to consider what was happening in your relationships during this time. Were you provoked to anger? Was somebody you were connected to provoked to anger? Did you make any rash decisions, right? Anger is a powerful resource for all of those that are casting illusions and projections with the hopes of gaining from you energetically, right? So provoking you to anger and fits of rage during a full moon in Taurus, which we already said is about material gain, it directly gets you to purge massive amounts of energy that can be used to acquire material satisfaction on the back end, okay? Now, once your family member, lover, or past loved one, not passed on, but just somebody that you used to, be lovingly connected to, once they join this network, this entity, this network, it became a third wheel enemy, essentially with backstage access to your life and your energy centers. Do you understand? And so there, if you join our coven, then we essentially are going to have access to this person. Is that okay with you? Do you agree with that? And so if we need to get close to this person, we may ask you to give them a gift. Why would we ask you to give them a gift? Because we've attached something onto it. We may ask you to do certain things that allow us to monitor them. We may need access to your children. Are you comfortable with that? Because your children are close to them, and in order to access our target, we are going to have to somehow be connected to your children, right? We're going to need you to write them or to send them a message, to send them an email, to send them a text, to call them, right? And so then they start to govern how these family members or lovers connect with you. Not only how they connect with you, but when they connect with you. And so essentially your relationship is being controlled by a third party. And there are more than one or just one family member that was a part of this, right? And we already talked about why they would join it, because they were sold, a whole new life, essentially. So, next thing, but God. So I want you to think about your state of being. We're going to go to a different moon now. I want you to think about your state of being during the new moon in Capricorn of 2024. This fell on January 11th, 2024. This is the 111 portal. What were you doing? What goals did you set? What behaviors did you modify? whatever changes you made at the start of the year, that represents a moment of time when you started to take your power back and command your own vessel and your divine existence. In short, you began to heal. And your healing changes everything. Your healing changes everything. The wounds that they kept fresh from the dark energy work, they began to close. And so the triggers that used to push you to a state of being irate, they were no longer working the same. Right? And so your hard work began to really pay off and reveal itself at the start of 2024. And directly that created a tower. It created a tower for this third party group. Right? You taking control over yourself, you dictating your life from the smallest of decisions to the largest of the choices. You know, this was not expected by any of the parties involved. And your improvement created a sudden change. It created trauma from those changes, and it disrupted the plans of this network, right? And these people were left to pick up the pieces of what was starting to crumble of their alliance and their plan. Now, this is when they began to consider letting it all go. This is when they maybe started to consider, but envy, pride, ego, do they let it go? No, they double down, right? And so the truth about who you are, it began to hurt the lovers. It began to hurt the family members. And I started to get emotional when I was doing the notes for this part and I don't know if that was my personal emotion, but I feel like this is when regret started to kick in at the beginning of 2024. I think this is where, 2 years ago, this was a sure thing. They knew this would be a success. And like I said, whatever really took place 2 years ago, whoever the newest recruit was, somebody that was very close to you, but you guys could have had a fragile experience together. Like, they were just so sure. They were so sure. And so at the start of this year, I think that people began to get scared. I think they began to feel regret, remorse, like, why did I do this? Why did I connect, right? But you know what? These are the experiences where people get to meet the real God, right? And like I said, I really feel like a lot of these organizations have some type of religious affiliation. And I think our family members and our lovers that join these networks, they are the first victim. I mean, before they all come for us, the first victim is our loved one that they have convinced to do this. And whatever demonic entity governs and controls these organizations, that's a whole nother situation, but everybody is a pawn here. We have just decided that we will only move for the Most High and nothing and no one else, right? And so collective, I want to tell you something. You've been waiting. You've been waiting for this. You've been longing for this, and it's coming. Your new beginning is on its way. And I'm going to tell you about a new moon now. I want you to start preparing for the full moon in Pisces. I want you to start preparing now. The full moon in Pisces falls on September 18th, 2024. Okay? And I want you to allow this day to mark your new beginning. And this marks the start of the divine lineage that you are writing for your family's bloodline. You were always the one that the ancestors were waiting for. And that is why your journey wasn't easy. But you've been through the fire and you've come out polished and whole. So whatever garden that you've been tending to in your life, keep going. I want you to return each day to water it. I want you to return regularly to pull the weeds and to remove any pests that are determined to eat away at your crops. I want you to be mindful of your thoughts, your behaviors, and the company you keep. This cycle is concluding, and you will be the champion for the next existence for your future lineage. You have done it, right? And God allowed it all because God knew who you were, even if at times you didn't, right? And so what can you expect? So September is what we're looking for, specifically September 18th. It was the full moon in Pisces that showed up September 18th of 2024. What can you begin to expect to reveal itself in your own life? Good fortune, inheritance, money, gifts, new financial opportunities, improved health, windfalls, and good omens. It's yours, and God knows that when you receive your blessings from the journeys of the past and all that you've endured, you will know exactly what to do with it. So, although September is not here yet, begin to balance your spiritual life and your practical human life. Begin to trust your inner knowingness. Pay attention to the synchronicities and aligned with your emotional body. Your simple thoughts, when we were in the thick of these battles, sometimes we would have little thoughts, little dreams, little visions, but we couldn't do anything with them because our energy was tied up because we were working against so much. But those same small thoughts are going to turn into vivid fantasies, right? And so before, when we were going through it, maybe everything was black and white. Our dreams were black and white. But I want you to imagine everything now is going to be in full color. You're going to have a vision, but you're going to have a path about how to get there, right? And you're not going to have the fear. You're not going to have the doubt or the worry about whether or not you're capable. And so all the illusions that they kind of put on us to keep us stuck and not accessing our total self, those things are not going to exist. Not only are those things not going to exist, but we are going to have tangible resources to pursue the things that we have come here to pursue. And so if you can envision it, then you already have it. You can create it, you can manifest it, you can experience it tangibly. When you hear this reading, know that the dates are indications of what's to come. So don't fret if this date has already passed for you. When you hear it, it is an indication of what's to come. So allow this to be timeless because it absolutely is. Prepare, plan, meditate, pray, and fill yourself with gratitude. Gratitude is a beautiful source of energy. And even if you don't know what comes next, have gratitude that you at least get to have another breath to experience it. I love you. Thank you so much for coming to Tennille Talks, and I'll see you on the next one.